Hello, my name is Jose Mata, and this is IniTrobe's Industry Analysis. This is the next code for our industry, which is the wireless telecommunications carriers industry. Its broad industry NAICS code is 51, which is information. The industry is mainly a service industry, and it operates through direct communication using radio-based cellular towers. The industry grossed $195.8 billion in 2011, which is a 5% increase on average since 2006. The industry is both national and international industry, but it focuses most directly domestically. It makes income through other countries by making calls over there, and they direct our calls to wireless devices, and the same happens with other countries as well. Geographically, companies have realized that they need to expand to give customers the maximum amount of coverage possible. By doing this gives companies in the industry greater economies of scale, also increases efficiency, and gives added competitive advantage to companies. And now to talk about the growth in the industry is Zach Glenn.
Okay, so despite a rough economic situation in America in the last 5 years, the wireless telecommunications industry has enjoyed steady growth over the last 5 years. We saw households using only a wireless connection go from 15.8% in 2007 all the way up to 29.7%. With the advent of new technologies, the industry has seen a 5% growth rate, and profits are projected to reach $240 billion by the year 2016. Following that, leveling out to about 4.2% growth per year. The wireless communications industry is mature, well-established, and well-positioned for the future. This is mainly due to elimination of voice-only services. Right now, about 60% of customers use voice-only services relative to 40% data, but those numbers are expected to change with more customers using data-only plans. And now to talk about macro environmental factors is Eric Sanchez.
Strengths of the telecommunications industry are that they provide a high-speed network throughout major cities and most countries throughout the world. They also have diversified offerings such as wireless internet, local and long-distance calling, and they offer these in a package at a discounted rate. Weaknesses are that they have average profitability, such as around 4%. Low signal strengths in less populated areas are a problem that they're constantly working on, and they also are dependent upon expansion in these less populated areas. So regulatory forces are governed by the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, under the Telecommunications Act of 1966. And basically in the act, they promote competition and reduce regulation while having new technologies come out as quickly as possible. And this eliminates barriers such as oligopolies. Now Michael Kennedy will be talking about competition.
Alright, so as Eric mentioned, this industry is an oligopoly. In an oligopoly, very few companies control a large share of the market. In this case, it's Verizon Wireless, AT&T, Sprint, and T-Mobile who control about 95% of the market. So these four companies are all huge companies, and what they are able to spend a lot of their money on is advertising to set themselves apart from their competition, as well as investing in their infrastructure to provide the most reliable, fastest network at a price that is very competitive to their customers. So speaking of the customers, there's three types. There's prepaid, postpaid, and wholesale. So prepaid constitutes about 20% of the market, and that's when you pay for your phone before you use the minutes. What this does is it provides a very cheap option, but it also costs a lot more to buy that fancy new cutting-edge phone. Postpaid is your typical pay your bill at the end of the month kind of contract, which promotes a lot of loyalty to your company. And then wholesale involves companies selling their services to third parties, and those third parties turning around and reselling it to customers. But these third parties don't have their own infrastructure, so they need to lease that from other companies. So next up, Sarah Irvin's going to talk about the supply chain.
Alright, goods are required from only four major industries. The wireless telecommunications carriers industry receives things like wired infrastructure, computers, and paging systems. And the major companies within the supplying industries are CenturyLink, AT&T, Verizon, Hewlett-Packard, Cisco Systems, and Apple. And once these supplies are received, the primary distributor of the services are the telecommunications resellers industry. They're essentially just a middleman. They provide the service by purchasing network access from the network operators, and then they resell it to consumers. The major purchases of this service is everyday consumers and businesses, and this industry is going to grow steadily over the next 5 years, and although it's going to be growing, the employment rate is expected to drop at an annual rate of 3.8%. This drop is going to result in about 30,000 jobs being lost in the industry. They expect this to happen because labor is the largest controllable expense in the industry, and they're going to start outsourcing jobs to other countries. And this concludes our presentation.